Hi there. During 2025 at St. Peter's in Rome, New York, we're going to be having a monthly Vespers service. It's going to be one Friday a month, with the exception of Lent, because during Lent there's Stations of the Cross. And we're going to have one each month throughout the year. Now, Vespers is a type of evening prayer. It goes back many centuries. It's part of the monastic tradition, and a lot of it is sung. Okay, so it goes back and forth. There could be a cantor. There could be a choir, which is often referred to as a schola, because a schola is a type of choir that sings plain song and chant. So the parts, the different parts on the psalm can go back and forth between the schola and the assembly. It could go back and forth between the cantor and the assembly, or if there was no one leading, it could go back and forth between, say, one side of the church and the other side of the church. And it's sung. And the music is based on plain song and chant. Okay, so for January 24th and for all of them, you're going to get a program. It's going to look something like this. This is from a diocesan program back in December. And let's going to go right to the psalm, the first psalm, which you're going to see up on the screen. This is for January 24th. It's Psalm 116. You notice how you have an antiphon, which is the refrain, right? And then you see the music. You see a couple of measures there. And then you see the parts going back and forth between the schola, and it says all for the people in the assembly. And then you see that some of the words have bold print. Okay, so the way this works is, you see so on this particular psalm, Psalm 116, you have two measures. Okay, you have the first measure, then the second measure. And you notice that each response has two lines. So line 1 always goes with the first measure, line 2 always goes with the second measure. Okay, so that antiphon right there, the Lord, keep my soul from death, never let me stumble. The line 1 is, Lord, keep my soul from death. The bold print is the word death. Okay, so that's where we're going to go up. If you look at the music, you see you have that long note that's held there on the first measure. Then you see you have a note that goes up. Okay, the third note from the end of that measure. That's where we're going to go up on death. Now, I know somebody's probably going to say, well, hey, the first couple of notes change also. Why isn't that bolded? I think the reason for that is because, kind of like, when you have a textbook and you're in school, and if you highlight everything, well, then what's the point of highlighting, right? Because it doesn't stand out, you know what I mean? So the bold print is reserved for certain changes, okay? So on Lord, keep my soul from death, that goes with measure 1. This is what it sounds like. And then measure 2 sounds like this. Okay, I'm sure you've heard that before in various musical settings, okay? So now, Lord, keep my soul from death. Lord, keep my soul from death. We go up on death. I know it sounds kind of funny, but Lord, keep my soul from death. And we go back down. Why do we go back down? Because if you look at the measure, see the notes go back down, right? Then line 2, measure 2. Never let me stumble. You see, we went down because never was on that note that's held. Let goes down, and then we went back up, and then we go down again on stumble, right? Never let me stumble. Okay? Then it goes down. The choir is going to sing a part. Line 1, measure 1. I love the Lord, for he has heard the cry of my appeal. Line 2, measure 2. For he has turned his ear to me in the day when I called him. Everyone in the assembly, they surrounded me, the snares of death with the anguish of the tomb. They caught me sorrow and distress, I called on the Lord's name. O Lord my God, deliver me. Now I know someone's going to say, well, wait a minute, there's a third line. That was only because of our margins. That second line extended down to a third line, but that's part of line 2, okay? Then we have choir, line 1, measure 1. How gracious is the Lord and just, our God has compassion. Line 2, measure 2. The Lord protects the simple hearts. I was helpless, so he saved me. Then we have everyone sing, turn back my soul to your rest, for the Lord has been good. Line 2, measure 2. He has kept my soul from death, my eyes from tears, and my feet from stumbling. Okay, schola. I will walk in the presence of the Lord. Line 2, measure 2, in the land of the living. Everyone, line 1, measure 1. As it was in the beginning, line 2, measure 2, is now and will be forever. And everyone again is now going to sing the antiphon. Lord, keep my soul from death. Line 2, measure 2, never let me stumble. Okay? All right. So that other little music that you heard, that was my phone just going off about something. So just ignore that. It was just, never let me stumble. Okay. Now I want to jump ahead just for 1 second here, if we can. You know, maybe we can. All right. Let's move on. Now, we're going to look at, okay, now we're going to look at Psalm 115, okay? This one's going to use a different setting, okay? This one is going to use 4 measures, okay? If you look at the music that's on display, you see measure 1, measure 2, measure 3, and measure 4, okay? So that means that line 1 is going to go with measure 1, line 2 with measure 2, line 3 with measure 3, and line 4 with measure 4. Okay? Now, the only difference is you see for the antiphon, there were only 2 lines. Okay? There was no real way to stretch that into 4 lines, so we just used the music for measures 3 and 4, which it indicates there. So let's look at the antiphon. Okay? So let me just play first what the music sounds like. Okay? Okay, so we have okay, so on the antiphon, let's go right, that's 3 and 4 right here. So go right here, we're going to go, my help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. So on my help comes from the Lord at measure 3, you see the note goes down on from. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. It changes on and, right? And down at the end, you see we do the same thing. Choir, we have choir. Down at the end, measures 3 and 4. We have glory to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit. Okay? And then everyone sings, as it was in the beginning, is now and ever shall be. Okay, the antiphon that everyone's going to sing. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Let's look at the other parts, the choir part, at right under the music there. You see, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. We're going to have, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Then we go line 2, measure 2. From where shall my help come? See that right there? From where shall my help come? Line 3, measure 3. My help shall come from the Lord. Line 4, measure 4. Who made heaven and earth. Then everyone sings. Line 1, measure 1. May he never allow you to stumble. Line 2, measure 2. Let him sleep not, your God. Line 3, measure 3. No, he sleeps not. Line 4, measure 4. Nor slumbers Israel's God. Choir part, the Lord is your guard. The Lord is your guard and your shade. Line 2, measure 2. At your right hand he stands. Line 3, measure 3. By day the sun shall not smite you. Line 4, measure 4. Nor the moon in the night. The assembly part, the Lord will guard you from evil. Line 2, measure 2, he will guard your soul. Line 3, measure 3, the Lord will guard your going and coming. Line 4, measure 4, both now and forever. Okay, so then there at the end we have the Scholar part and the part for everyone that did measures 3 and 4 that we went over before. Okay, so we'll post more videos about this and continue to review this, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how this works. So these are two different musical settings that we will be using on January 24th. There's another psalm that's going to use the first setting that we went over today. And so we'll continue to review this, as I said. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you find this video helpful, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And have a great day, or as I always say, or night, or whenever you're viewing this. Thank you.